Looks like we're almost there. We're almost there. Hectic. We're live. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be watching, chat, VOD, however you're watching this. We're going to do a bit of yapping today, as per usual. Well, more than just yapping, I'm also going to go through some cars. It's kind of same as last time. I figured it was fun. It made over an hour feel like 10 minutes to me, and I had a bit of spare time tonight. Eventually, I kind of want to make an actual schedule for these, but for now, I figure we'll go through. We'll go through a bunch of things. We'll go through some car news. A couple of things have happened, like the new IS that's been released, or shown, not released till next year, and the new Testarossa that's been shown as well, which might be cool to get into. And I managed to figure out a way to just look at Marketplace. I'm basically just using my own account at this point because every account I tried to make for Facebook ends up banned, which is just no fun at all. So without further ado, I'm going to switch over to this and we're going to get right into it. So, as long as this works, got you, and I need you to get Firefox. Hectic. All right. So, we might not start with collecting cars. We might actually end with that. We might start with a bit of the news, I suppose, has been going on lately. So at the moment, the new IS, it's one of the biggest things that have come out, at least in Lexus world lately, besides the new LFA, potentially LFR concept, whatever it may be, that we don't know a hell of a lot about yet. The new IS has been revealed, and it's interesting, man. Like, this is Lexus's page on it. It seems very, very safe. That's, I guess, the main thing I can say about it. Sure, new wheels look alright. They look more like your typical BBS wheels than previous gen ISs. The kind of silhouette looks almost the same. The front, unfortunately, I think is a bit of a step backwards. They really took a page out of Toyota's books, as you would expect from Lexus, but there used to be a bigger differentiation between the two, right? Like, Lexus was always the rich man's Camry, at least the IS range, but now, I mean, if we just have a quick look at the new Camry, a lot of that design language and just kind of ran with it. So, like, I don't know, man, we're really leaning into the joke now. Like, this was always a Camry, and now it really is. Like, if we just take a closer look, it wouldn't surprise me if those bumpers become interchangeable at some point. Like, yeah, the headlight design's a little bit different, but they're really just similar grille, similar badge placement. Everything is just so, I don't know, man. You see one of these in your rearview mirror, you're probably going to think it's the same damn car. Otherwise, everything's kind of been kept the same. Like, the interior looks extremely similar to the previous Gen IS. If anything, it's a minor facelift. It's not really that revolutionary. And if I were to pick, I would probably still pick the previous IS anyway over this one. It looks more aggressive. There's the IS 500 as an option, whereas I don't think they're continuing with it as far as I'm aware. It looks like it's just going to be IS 350 and the 350H, like the EV version, but yeah, a little bit disappointed in Lexus's new range of IS, and clearly they're not going with an F anymore. That's just kind of been cut, and I guess hopefully going to be replaced with whatever the hell the LFR is going to be, or that LFA replacement, quote unquote, that's been tested. Hello, you want to join too? You can't talk. So yeah, I don't have a lot of good things to say, or to be honest, much to say at all. It was really safe, kinda boring, but hey, that's the new IS for you. Pretty safe. And I guess while we're on the topic of new things, wouldn't be a bad idea to just have a look at the new Testarossa, which is interesting in and of itself. It's polarizing. Polarizing would be the word I would use for this design. I can't say I'm in love with it. I know a lot of people definitely unhappy about it. I can't even say I've seen mixed reviews. I've just kind of seen bad. No one seems to really be down for it. I mean, you see some people saying, yeah, it's probably going to end up like the G80, where people hate it at first and then eventually they come to like it. But I don't know about this one, Chief. It's like, yeah, the V8 hybrid, 1,000 horsepower quoted, if I remember correctly. There you go, max output. But I just, I'm not sold on the look. The silhouette just isn't. It's bloated. For me, it's bloated in the rear, especially. Yeah, hello. It's bloated in the rear. Don't, this new thing they're doing with their headlights entwined with the back, it looks almost like one of those protector covers for your bonnet that you kind of get on a car and option off because it looks like shit. They've just kept that for whatever reason. Still looks good to the IS. Yeah, Mark. It does. Like, okay, let's be real. It is timeless, right? The IS, at the end of the day, it's not bold. It's safe. Unlike the Testarossa, where Ferrari's decided to be really bold for whatever reason, the IS is still very timeless. Like it's still a nice look. It's just so similar to the Camry front end now that it really puts me off. Like, yeah, you're not gonna confuse these two in the street, sure, but like if you squint a little bit, you've almost got a very similar car. And it's just ironic how much it fits the joke now. But I mean, back to the Testarossa, man. Like, it's different. I I can't say I'm sold. I think the front looks okay if you get rid of things like the bloody black bar for whatever reason. It's not a horrible front silhouette. It's like a similar wedge shape to things like, it almost reminds me of like the Countach in a way in its design language. And I mean, to be fair, cars like the Countach do have that more bloated rear end. And like, if I even look at that, you can kind of see, in a way, it feels horrible comparing these two cars because they are nothing alike. But in its own way, there is a kind of wedge to the Ferrari. Does it look good though? Is it as timeless as something like Countach? I don't think so. Some people still kind of think it might have that, but then you got things like the center of the boot exit exhaust right there that just looks a little goofy. The interior, it's it's a Ferrari interior, it's a modern car interior, it's fine, I suppose. There's nothing really striking about it, but I just don't know. It's one of those cars you'd have to see in person, right? You'd have to actually see it, hear it, ideally drive it if you could, to really know if this new Testarossa that they're giving that namesake is as good as what it once was, right? There's not a lot more I have to say about it. I don't mind it being a hybrid. I'm not really someone that's against Ferraris being hybrids. Sure, nothing quite like a naturally aspirated V12, but still has a V8 at the very least, and you can't argue with the power it's pushing. It's pretty crazy. In silver, it actually looks quite good as well. Weirdly enough, almost better than the red, which is weird to say for a Ferrari. But yeah, I can see what they're trying to do with the black kind of being a homage to the Testarossa's vents, maybe. Like, I guess that's what they're trying to do. I'm not Ferrari's design studio. I don't know what they're really trying to do. Wrap the parts that have black and paint the Testarossa. I think it will look nice then. Well, yeah. If you actually make it all one color and really homogenize it, it will look a lot better. It won't look like you've got just a random, I don't know, bonnet protector on there. I mean, it almost looks like, the way I see that black line is almost like on iPhones and stuff. You've got that black bar at the top now, the dynamic island. Looks like Ferrari, for whatever reason, put a dynamic island on their hood. Couldn't tell you why. I don't know if it's just some sort of thing that they think looks techie because it's a hybrid. I don't know, man. I don't get the logic. But hey, that's their design language. That's their signature mark at the moment. It's what they're doing on all the new Ferraris right now. I just don't think I'm sold on it. Otherwise, it's not... I don't hate it. Again, would need to see it in person to really get a grip. Yeah, I can do a 3D render, sure. But even then, this is not going to tell me how it would look really. Maybe even with a diffuser on there, like a bigger, more aggressive diffuser. I don't know. Like, it's not. Side profile, not bad. Front 3/4, not bad. Front on, you can see some of the Testarossa kind of like, inspiration. I feel like it's just when you get to that rear 3/4 that really just drops for me. It it feels bloated. It almost starts to look like those like Ferrari SUVs that they've made. It's like they have similar design language in the curves of that, which it puts me off. But again, maybe in person it's a lot nicer than what it presents online. You never really know till you see it. But again, don't think it deserves all the hate it's getting, but yeah, man, it's interesting to say the least, and like you can't deny it's fucking quick. So that's the Testarossa. Now, what we can get into that's really cool is collecting cars we can look at. So, Facebook Marketplace. You can see this is definitely a boys' Facebook Marketplace. Obviously, we've got dumbbells, golf clubs, Pokemon cards, planes, and of course, many, many cars. And I just thought this would be a fun thing to do because collecting cars is one thing, but where the real deal's at, where the real boys live, is right here. Facebook motherfucking Marketplace. This is what I'm scrolling day in, day out. This is what we're all scrolling day in, day out. And even look, from the other week, when I was on that stream, collecting cars had that Evo 8 for sale. And there it is. I wasn't lying. It's right there on Marketplace. He's even dropped the price to $35,999. When it's sold, supposedly on collecting cars for like 26 or 28. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was under 30. So he's clearly struggling to sell that. I guess that might be where Evo's prices sit nowadays, probably closer to the $30,000 mark than something like 40. Was a bit ambitious. But I mean, let's have a geese. Let's have a little Marketplace scroll and see what we can find lately. Maybe we'll go through vehicles in particular and see if there's anything cool that pops up. An FD for 50k, bit on the high end, but FTs are going up quite a bit lately, so it's hard to even say that's high end these days. Anything else standing out at the moment? Getting a lot of garbage. How about, do I have my own like for you stuff in here? Can I actually look at that, or can I just search? How about a little search NSX? Is there anything new? As you can see, I frequently search for things like NSXs. They're in my search history. Not that I can afford one, but it's always nice to see. That's the kind of car that I track, to see their price trajectory, because I would love to see them trend down. GTRs, R32 at 295. What the fuck is done to that? Build block, stroke to 3.2. Okay, 1200 wheel horsepower. Explains a lot. He's going to get 295 for it. Good luck to him. It'd be nice if he did. 30 something for S2000s ain't too bad. 174,000 Ks though, which is a little on the high end. Soft top. Fairly stock, yeah. Clearly it's got coilovers or something. 200,000 Ks since COVID, so it's kind of sat for a little while, which isn't necessarily ideal, but hey, could be a decent pickup. 35 for another S2000 with 155, 40, 46, 36. So, I mean, S2000s are trending a little down, which is nice. This one's fast stocker. Factory BBSs, smooth gearbox and healthy engine. How are they like tracking that metric? Yeah, take my word for it, bro. But they, to be fair, looks pretty clean, all things considered. For 36, it's not horrible. At least for what S2000s are nowadays, when you've got people trying to charge 50. But I guess it's a little bit different with the half cage in there too. What else do we have? Some Civics. You want an NSX bonnet? Can't buy the whole thing, but I could afford that if I really wanted it. Model kits, more NSX parts. Brake pads, brake pads. All right, let's look at GTRs for a minute before I get into some other quick things. R32, 130, 95, 108. An EOI. Yeah, I'd also love a GTR for 50k, man. That would be nice. If anyone's selling it for that, let me know. 70k for an R32. It's not horrible. 121. 70,000 without the LMGT4s. Could be worse, but I have seen a couple of 32s getting in like the high 50s lately, so I mean, nowadays a little bit on the high end. Anything else standing out to me? Under 70 for a 33? Cold aircon, I'd hope so. And a warm heater, wow. Real selling points for this GTR. 68,000 Ks, genuine, I don't know. Hard to prove. Looks a bit. Looks like I had a bit of a life. The inside's relatively clean. I don't know if I'd fully trust the 68,000 Ks though. Especially for that price point. Feels a little cheap, 68,000 Ks. Teen coilovers too. I mean, not my preference, but you do you, man. Still not a bad pickup. 75... 18 for a GTT? See, that's more reasonable. It's a 4-door one too. We were talking about GTTs in the last stream, and some people were asking a lot of money for GTTs, man. Like, we were looking at over 30k people were asking for these cars. This, far more reasonable, but I don't think it's a GTT. Is it T? It's not the turbo. So it's just a TT. Just a T, sorry, not a GTT. So I suppose that there. No wonder it's a bit cheaper. See, this is the price GTTs should be. But even so, it's a 4-door Skyline. Yeah, it's NA. Not quite as fun, but I guess a little bit more reasonable in terms of price. This is probably a GTT then, if they want 35. Yeah, GTS2, sorry, for an R33. Looks a little bit saggy, unfortunately. Not the cleanest example I've seen. There you go. You want to get into a GTR? Get into a rolling shell for 40k. It's nothing but a peanut. 45 was too high, really? You think? Is it just the shell? Is it anything? Trans, nothing? Missing running gear, diff. Yeah, and the motor, bro. 40k is nuts. For a shell that panels barely even line up, man, and we want $40,000. Get fucking out of here. GT or GTT? 240,000 Ks. 3 years, they're D Neo. So no, it is another non-turbo model for 22,000, man. Damn. Hey, at the end of the day, if you can pull $22,000 out of your non-turbo 4-door Skyline, more power to you, but fuck if I'm paying that. Sorry for those have asked, you used to make Zoids videos content. I checked it a bit. Yeah, man. A little while back. Not even that long ago. Like, start of this year is when I kind of ended up pivoting. But yeah, I made heaps of Zoids content, man. You can still see all the model kits in the back. They're everywhere. You can still find the Zoids videos on my channel too, man. Like, if you ever want to go back and go down memory lane and watch all of those, they're on my channel in playlists. They're unlisted. I've explained it before, but I'll do a quick TLDR. Basically, whenever you want to check them out, go for it. But a TLDR is essentially, I was having issues with the channel, essentially having a lot of just ghost viewers, mainly. Like, people would come, they would maybe subscribe, they would watch for specifically stuff like the Zoids content, but I more or less said everything I had to say about it, right? I reviewed every single series, I made some theory videos, I made a complete timeline video of all the Zoid stuff I enjoyed. I don't really care about the new stuff, so I said my piece. I was done with it, but obviously I wasn't done with YouTube. So then I tried to pivot into things like Gundam and other stuff, and it was just it was very spread out. So people would come, they would watch some older videos, they wouldn't care about the new stuff when I started talking about things like cars and stuff like that. So it just didn't work. So yeah, ended up privating all the old stuff, or unlisting all the old stuff to make way for the new stuff so it doesn't mess up with the YouTube algorithm, because that's kind of what would happen. Like, you'd get an extra, 20,000 views on an old Zoids video, for example. Not a single one of them would give a shit about a new video. And the algorithm would be like, oh, okay, you're in the mud, which, fair enough, I suppose. But I just didn't want that to end up happening. So ended up like committing to the pivot, which was scary. It was scary to do, but hey, man, I'm here now. I'm making stuff I'm really enjoying, and it's been a lot of fun this year. It's been so much fun, really, just staying in my lane, I guess, that I've chosen now. It's been good. It's been a good change. Oh, 120,000 for an RX3. Oh, bit pricey. 24 for a Sylvia though. S13. 230,000 Ks. Oh, zip tied front bumper. She's a bit rough. She's a bit rough, and she's also not legal. That's a defect-worthy car if I have ever seen one. It's clean sense. You want to make the things. Yeah, exactly. So, and it's no fault of anyone's own, man. Like, it's at the end of the day, there will and there was some cross between the old content and the new content, right? At the end of the day, Zoids are mechs, right? And there is people who really are into mecha. Generally are also into things like cars, boats, planes, whatever it may be. It's all mechanical stuff, right? Everything's got an engine, motor, gears wrenching on them. Like, that's a real thing that people enjoy. Even things like Transformers, for example, there's a lot of overlap there. So it was always going to happen. Like, some people were going to come over, that's fine. A lot of people didn't, and that is what it is. I can't expect everyone to like all the same things I do, but at some point you just got to commit, right? And committing to this kind of just felt like the right path for me, compared to committing to something like Zoids, which again, I'd kind of just said my piece on. I loved making those videos. I still love those videos, but hey, man, it's just not what I need to talk about anymore. What do you do? 21 for an 8.6. That's all right. 133,000 Ks. If you could bargain him to under 20, that's not bad at all. GTST for what? 29. It's clean at least. Didn't even put an R33 like GTR bumper on it. It was really nice seeing Aussie content make of Zoids. Usually it's American and Japanese, so very distinctive. I'm kidding. Yeah. No, it's... Hey, thank you for watching at the end of the day, man. Like, thank you for actually being there and being still around after all of this. Like, I've been making content for years at the end of the day. So it's really cool to still see people that watch like my Zoid stuff still around. And yeah, man, like in general, not even just in the Zoid space, like in the content space, it is really dominated by Americans, which isn't a bad thing. Like, a lot of the content creators I watch are American, but it's always refreshing to see like some new Aussies get out there, and Kiwis like yourself and things like that. Like, whenever I see a new Cold Ones video, it's so refreshing, man. It's great. I love it. What else? What else do we got? 65 for a 200 SX. Like, fuck. It is clean. Do not get me wrong. And the fucking Alcantara seats too. There's clearly a lot of rare bits on there. But Jesus, man. He's got his fitment dialed in too. Don't let High Patrol see that. Whew. Damn. Defect City, but it looks so good. Any day of the week, man. Yellow or red S15, any day of the week. I wish I would have got that. But when you think about it, man. Okay. 65 for a 200 SX, which... Fun, cool car. Spend a little bit more and you're already in R33 GTR territory. Yes, not quite as clean I'd probably be a little bit more worried about this one's history, claiming 68,000 Ks. It seems almost too good to be true. But even then, 70 for an R32 GTR. I'd be taking GTRs any day over a Sylvia, as much as I love the shape of the Sylvia. It's a gorgeous car, but man, 78 for this R33. What, flex fuel? What mods we got? Bunch of Haste KS goodies. How many Ks? 164. It's not a horrible price from what I've seen lately. But I wouldn't call it cheap. It is nice for seeing under 100k for a lot of R35s now too, especially since they become importable. You can import those from Japan now, at least to Australia, and it is crazy. I don't know much about cars, but it's awesome hearing this. Reminds me of the Fast and Furious days. Yeah, man. I mean, hey, that's where all these cars are from. At the end of the day, like they are all early 2000s Fast and the Furious cars. Like GTRs were insane. And hey, back then, these were a lot cheaper too. This Pulsar looks like it came straight out of Fast and the Furious. Bro's got the underglow and everything. That's crazy. 272,000 Ks and he wants 35k. I don't care if it's a triple S Pulsar, man. Far out. That's nuts. You'd have to find some real Pulsar enthusiasts. I mean, hell, for nearly anything, there's a right buyer out there, right? It's not me. Couldn't be me, though. But maybe someone. Maybe 13 more weeks, man. 13 more weeks and we might get there. 33 for a 180. Huh? 260,000 Ks and the dildo on the bumper. Bro, they're calling you a knobhead and you don't even know it. That's wild. I do like the 3-spoke wheels though. No silly offers. My brother in Christ, you want 35 grand for a 180. So what, is it a full built motor? But he's stuck on the roll in front bars. Front bars has chip paint. I wonder why. If you keep suction cupping shit on there, fucking obviously. Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good on something like that. 70k for an STI. That'll be a hard one to move. Like, it's been built nicely if you're into that stance life, don't get me wrong. Like, getting fitment dialed in like that is not easy. Big ass turbo too, what? Fully built motor. Brand new rebuilt gearbox. Shouldn't need a rebuilt gearbox in an STI, man. How much power are we pushing? Injectors. Where am I missing something? Oh, there we go. 800 horsepower. Making 650. I guess if you don't understand, I can explain. If you if you want to make power out of an STI, any sort of Subaru, it is fucking expensive, which kind of probably goes into this price, but fuck. You'll still be hard pressed to find someone else who wants to spend 70 grand on an STI. That's nuts, especially because that's GTR money. Are you planning to buy one or more about browsing and looking? Oh man, it's more about having a bit of fun browsing. Like, I don't have the cash. I'm not looking at buying right now, but there are dream cars, right? Things like NSXs, GTRs, some Porsches like a 997, 996 turbo. This is what I do. Like every day, every night, it feels like I am scrolling through Marketplace, just looking at what's selling at the moment, looking at prices, looking at if I could afford to do X, Y, and Z. Like, oh, if I sold my ISF for X, maybe I could buy this for Y. It's always good to just know. And it's fun. It's fun for me. I don't know if you're having a good time. I hope you are. You're still in chat, so it looks like you might be, man. But yeah, I just love browsing. It's just so cool to just see what value you can get right now. Like 37 for a Nismo, 370 is a bit on the high end, but fuck, I would love to have one of those. You know what's cool? If I even look up just 350s, right? 350Z. If we want to look at things I was actually wanting to buy, this would be it. So, I daily my ISF, right? Lexus V8. If you don't know what an ISF is, if you don't know much about cars, I'll quickly show you. One of these bad boys, right? Lexus ISF. I know my camera's probably covering that, but if I just do this, we can probably see it better. There we go. One of the few V8s that Lexus made, along with like the RCF, GSF, and now like the LC500 and things like that. It's a great car. I love that car. The only problem I have with that car is it only ever came in automatic. I'm enjoying it on the same, but I'm more buying PS2 games. Yeah, exactly. F4 Marketplace on the daily. Like if I showed you before, all the stuff I had up, like there's Pokemon cards here and there that come up, Yu-Gi-Oh cards that come up, model kits that come up, cars that come up, whatever it may be. There's always something on here that I'm looking at. Even retro games here and there. Like, man, I collect too many. Like I can get into that in a second. Actually, a bunch of just random games that I have. If you'd wanted to see that, I'm more than happy to open my drawer and give us a look. But the problem I've had with my ISF is that it's automatic, right? I hate that it's automatic. It's a lovely car. It ticks every single box besides being manual. I miss driving manual so much. It's like my favorite thing to do. So, in saying that, doesn't mean I want to sell the ISF because I love it. It ticks, again, every other box. So what's the other solution? Get a second car. That's where things like the 350Z came in because they are so fucking cheap now. It is unbelievable. Like this is value for money if I've ever seen it. Like, yeah, okay. This is probably clapped to shit. 189,000 Ks, manual transmission, $6,000, paint's faded. It's a bit fucked. Probably a bit of a panic basher by the looks of things if it's out in the dirt. But for under 10 grand for 6K, 3 weeks ago, not much interest. If it at least runs, and you could get that, unsure of issue, possibly head gasket. Okay. Head gasket issue is one thing. Still, $5,000 for a running, but maybe not for long, 350Z is pretty damn good value. If you can find one for double that, for 10K, that's running and isn't too bad. 12K, heaps more Ks. Misfire. Like, okay. Again, misfire. So you'd probably be looking maybe closer to 15 for one that's like decent, right? But again, if you want a project car, it doesn't matter if it's running perfectly. So if you can find one for between 5 and 15 that's manual that you're just willing to work on and have as a random weekend car to, just drive manual again like I'm looking for, it's not bad value. Good car for 5. Yeah, for 5K alone, exactly right. Like, head gasket issues aside, 5K is not horrible to get yourself into what was once the cover car of Need for Speed Underground 2. It's an iconic car. Like, they're iconic enough as they are. They're an amazing drift car, especially to start out. Like, yeah, they're not perfect. It's not a fucking 2J, but it's a really cool chassis to learn and experiment in. And hell, if I had the spare change, I would love to just get into one of these as a second car, I don't think I'd want it as my only car, but, just to have as a weekender that I can actually drive manual in, it'd be so fun. And they can look sick. Like, they can look really good. Obviously, a 370Z would be nicer, but fuck it. Save you money. I got Silent Hill 2 for $350. Some of these old cars tech are so expensive. Yeah, man. If it's got a collector's market to it, things they just skyrocket. It's absolutely insane. I feel like I haven't seen manual cars in like 10 years or so. Yeah, getting them new is a lot rarer these days, that's for sure. It's a lot harder to find them around, especially if you're looking at any car like post 2010. It drops significantly. really you won't find them very far outside of sports cars nowadays. Sports cars and four-wheel drives. That's kind of it. Like a lot of four-wheel drives still come in manual, although for most four-wheel drive guys, as far as I know, a lot of them prefer auto anyway, regardless. But still, the options there. I guess usually for traders, it's want something cheaper because the manual is a cheaper option. But yeah, man, it is rarer to find manual these days, but it's a lost art. It really is. I love driving manual, no matter what car it is. Like I was driving a what was it? It was a Navara, a D40 Navara in manual for a little while, for 6 months while I had some issues with my car. I fortunately enough got that lended to me, and it was a joy, man. Like genuinely, 6 months in a manual Navara. I didn't care that it was a big fuck off fucking ute. Who cares? It was still so much fun to just bang that thing around. It was great. But again, this some sort of 350Z 20k for a 200SX, that's relatively cheap these days. 220,000 Ks, uh-huh. So it was a repairable write-off. And has a hit on the back quarter now as well. Oh, not ideal. And you can't really... That's connected to the roof liner, isn't it? Yeah, ouch. So you can't just replace a panel there. That's unfortunate. 20k now feels a bit steeper than it did. than it did 20 seconds ago. Far out. But yeah, man, just trying to find a 350Z for a decent price. Not bad. Not bad as a second car. While we're here, let's look at other cars that I like looking at. 997. How are they going at the moment? 165k. Jesus. What is it? Just a Carrera S? Yeah, it is Carrera S. That's nuts. 165. What do you want? You just a Carrera? Base model, maybe? With a GT3 spoiler on it? Oh, it's a convertible as well. Yikes. That's good value though. 140,000k is a little bit on the high end, but that's insane. 165. It is insane. 165. So to explain that a little bit more, there's a bit of like, you can just call it an Australia tax, or just not being from America or the UK tax, because we've got like a luxury import tax as well here, which is a real tax too, that increases the price of all of these like European cars here. So no matter what you get, it just becomes so much more expensive just because we're in Australia. Like we were looking at some listings the other week of things like a Carrera S, and you could get them for under 100k. Hell, you could get GT3s, 996s for like 100 and something thousand, which is still less than this, and it's a much better car, right? At the end of the day, so it is nuts how much we have to pay being in Australia, and it will be the same in New Zealand, I imagine. That it just because of the scarcity, it becomes so much more expensive, and how much further we are from Europe, and there's so many options. But 70k for a Cayman, quite as bad. You're getting a lot more car for your money at this rate, but depends if you want a Cayman or not. If you really want those extra seats. Far out. That's nuts for a 991. That's what I mean. If he wants 165 for a 997, you've got the next generation up, a 991. Yeah, AZ in New Zealand is so bad. Yeah, man. Even like the conversion rate even makes it worse. After buying something from the States and it cost me almost double. Yep. That sounds about right. What is the conversion at the moment? It's USD. Well, I'll go the other way around. USD to AED. $1.51. Damn. So yeah, you're pretty much paying 150% on whatever you're trying to get. Fuck. That's tough. How about yen at the moment? Yen. AUD. I'll go the other way around. AUD to yen. Because I imported some parts recently and they weren't too bad. Yep. So we're nearly quote unquote dollar for dollar. Like 100 yen is pretty much the equivalent of like a dollar in Japan. So we're actually quite close to being dollar for dollar with them, which is pretty good. I imported some brakes and stuff recently and it wasn't too bad on the wallet. But getting stuff from the States, aren't I glad that YouTube pays in USD though? Not that I fucking get paid anything from YouTube, but hey, whatever they pay me is 150% more in my pocket than it was with theirs, so that's nice. When I get my $50 YouTube check, it's over 100. Well, not over 100. Fuck, I can't even do... Oh, it is. Do a maths. Just over 100. Quick maths on the fly. But far out. This has been up for a while. 996 with 100 and something thousand Ks. I think it's an import as well. Or it just has Jap plates, but whatever the case, could be a personal import. But there's so many. So you work on cars as well? Yeah, man. Yeah, I work on my own car. I don't do a hell of a lot. I'm no mechanic by any stretch, but yeah, just basic stuff, whether it be brakes, coilovers, exhausts. The most complicated thing I've ever done is probably a clutch. But yeah, it's fun. I'm looking at... I say it's fun, but I'm also looking at doing my Miso spark plugs recently. They're due, so that'll be a fun little project. Hopefully I don't break anything. Haven't done spark plugs in a hot minute, but yeah, how hard can it be, right? It's usually not that bad. Might need a new spark plug socket though, because I don't think I have one that'll work with a Mazda. What else? You know what? We'll come back to Marketplace maybe in a minute, because I can't think of what else I want to look at. So, maybe 996s before I rush off. 68 for 996. 59. 348, which I actually have open over here as well. Alright, this will lead me into collecting cars. Why not? This is a really cool lead. So, collecting cars. Not a lot has really struck my eye since the last time I looked at it, but there was a couple of key things that I found that I thought were really interesting. The first was another 348. So we had this one here that sold just today for 165,000 Australian dollars. 41,000 miles, supposedly, and it's got a pretty decent history from Ferrari dealers the whole way through. So seems pretty clear that that's actually what it is. It's a personal import from the UK, so it wasn't an Oz delivered model, but even so, it's freaking clean. I mean, there's hundreds of pictures to make proof of that. Most exotics are going to be clean, let's be real, but you can barely see much stress in the leather. It's pretty damn clean as far as any classic car will go. So clearly that would probably put this at a little... It is pretty insane. For a car from 94, it's freaking nice. But again, then we've got this bad boy on Marketplace. Now again, a little bit different. If I remember correctly, this one's Oz delivered. Yep, it's an Australian delivered model. It's a Targa as well. So there's a couple of things different. Lower Ks, so this one only had 48,000 Ks, whereas this one had 41,000 miles. So obviously this one's a little bit higher in the kilometer range. But, you know, this one's a couple of years older. This one's a couple of years newer. I don't know how much value the Targa truly adds. I'm not a, classic Ferrari expert or anything. But in at least my not respected opinion, I can see why this hasn't quite sold in 11 weeks yet. It looks like the prices are kind of settling down, probably closer to 160,000. Because I keep seeing this pop up. Every time I open Marketplace, I have seen this Ferrari on my fucking For You page, right? It's always there. And you can see the difference, even just the interior. Like, look how distressed that damn leather is. It is cracking like concrete. It's clearly had a bit of a life. It's probably been outside a little bit more. Considering it's an Oz delivered car, it likely was in the Australian sun even as well. And seeing it's a Targa, it's probably had the roof off and things like that. So it has had a bit more of a stressful life than what this looks to have had, at least off appearance alone. So old mate over here may have to start rethinking his $200,000 price tag, considering this sale. But hey, you know, if there's a buyer for it, there's a buyer. This came up too as a recent sale. 128,000 for a supercharged V8 R8. Yeah, it's not the V10, but it's the gated manual. So what more would you really want? Right? No paddle shifters, no mucking around, straight V8 behind your head with a third pedal and everything you would want out of an Audi. It's pretty damn insane. And to have the supercharger as well, hey, you probably won't be beating anyone in roll racing like the V10 ones do, but it won't be any fucking slouch. And for this much money, when we're looking at base Carreras for over this price, I mean, the value's very clearly here. Oh, son, oh hell. Yeah, exactly right. New Zealand's a bit of a different bucket of fun, isn't it? You guys got some extreme colds over there too that we just do not get. But I do envy you guys for that, because we really don't get snow, which is a damn shame. But no, this damn good value for money, all things considered. Decent service history too. You can see the Ks are most likely genuine. You've had some years of not much going on. So from 2018 to 2023, you got a 5-year span with under 10,000 Ks. Seems a little bit strange, but if it was just kept in storage, it was kept in storage. Got a duck bill on there, which is a bit different, but hey, when you're packing a nice supercharged V8 behind your head for just over 100 grand, not bad. Morning, what are you all discussing? Hey Star, how you doing, man? We are going through a bunch of things. I've gone through this morning the new Testarossa. I say this morning, it's fucking afternoon. I've gone through the new Testarossa, had a bit of a chat about that. Chatted about the new IS and how it looks pretty much like the new Camry. And we think that's a little bit disappointing. But hey, it's feeding into the stereotype. And now, man, we're just going through Marketplace and collecting cars. Just having a bit of fun. Seeing what's out there. Scrolling through listings. It's what I love to do. I figured I'd show it. So hey, we're going through a couple of things like this decent value R8 that sold for just over 6 figures for a supercharged V8 with gated manual. Not bad, especially compare it with what else is in the market at the moment. Like, you know, when we're looking at these Porsches for what? This 997 we saw, Carrera S, people wanting 165,000 for it. But again, you wonder why it's been up for 15 weeks. Look what you can get with the money. People are nuts. To go back on my Porsche rant, like I was saying before, now this was a UK sale, I think, if I remember correctly. No, Norway. In Europe, right? It was a European sale, Scandinavian, I suppose. So it's very different from the market here, clearly. But it just goes to illustrate 61,000 euros, just over 100,000, right? Euro to AD. So if you look in Australian bucks, which is, that conversion rate is shocking. Yeah. So just over 100k is what you're looking at in Norway for a 996 GT3. Yes, 123,000 Ks, a little bit on the high end, but fuck, it's not bad for a GT3. It's from 2000, man. Like, you're looking at under, what, 5,000 Ks a year? 25 years? Fuck, not bad. Has it had any of the issues? Like, is it IMS issues on these? Or is that on the other Porsches? Maybe not. But whatever the case, it's just looking at the sheer value you get everywhere that's not Australia just makes me a little sad. Because fuck, man, you could get this, or you could get a base Carrera S, supposedly. This is probably on the high end again. It's been up 15 weeks. it'll likely sell much closer to 150, 140. But again, even then, you get so much more car for your money anywhere else. But I suppose you take what you can get, and there are differences everywhere. Like getting a Japanese car everywhere else becomes a lot harder than being in, Oceania, like we are, like even in New Zealand and Australia. GTRs are so much easier to come by. Supras, NSXs, all of it. If it's Japanese importable, it's so much easier compared to all these cars. But hey man, you don't get to choose where you're born, I suppose. Some people get lucky in some instance, some in the other. You can't have it all. Can never go wrong seeing through cars on marketplace. If that GT3 is mint, then 100k for it is justified. Oh, of course. Honestly, I think even genuinely good price for this GT3. It's pretty damn guards red, stock everything. You can tell it's been used. Like if you look at the stress on that leather, it's been enjoyed. People have been sitting in that, getting in and out. People have been loving the shit out of it. But hey, your factory manual, it's just so nice. At our high schools, if you used to have Supras and those cars are so freaking expensive, yeah, they are now. They are now. They weren't always that way. Back when I was even in high school, a lot of the Supras, this is not even, 7 years ago now? It's not even a decade ago. They were so much, especially the non-turbo ones, right? It's been loved, that's for sure. Yeah, man, it's been loved, and I would be ready to be the next person to love it if we could get them for this price in Australia. Not that I could even afford that right now, but again, it would be an option. I love the 996 shape. I know it's a bit controversial with the egg headlights, but fuck, it's the one I really grew up with. Like being born 99, growing up in the early 2000s, this was the Porsche, right? This was the 911. But yeah, it is crazy to see Supras in particular. Supras, GTRs, even things like NSXs. Well, Silvia's is probably one of the biggest ones in terms of how much prices have changed. But yeah, man, like you could get an S15 for under 10k. You could get a NA Supra for like 10k or so. You could get a 4-door Skyline for like 10k. All these cars that are now in the 30s, 40s, 50s, even more. It's just unfucking believable how much things change in such a short amount of time. I think it's crazy that in 2014, you could have got like an R32 GTR for 20k. That's what one of my mates paid for his. I met him in like 2016 when I first got my license. We just, saw each other in a car park, started chatting it up. He bought his R32, just over 20k. Now the thing's easily worth probably 100, just because of how much work's been put into it too. Like it's not a bone stock GTR. It is fully built. It's been completely restored from the ground up. It runs flex fuel. It's unreal. But yeah, just a couple of years, man, between 2014 and probably 2019 is when things really started to ramp up. So within 5 years, so many of these cars just tripled, which is nuts. But hey, that's life. There was also this GT3 that I saw that I thought was really interesting because it sold for only 10,000 less than the other GT3. One being obviously more stock, more road spec. The other being, a track prepared car. This can be run on the track. The interior is completely gutted. This has been shown some love, alright. It's been absolutely thrashed. What I find interesting though is this is quoted as being street legal as well. If I can find where they said it. I think they said it in here. Street? Yeah, road legal. So like, it's a GT3 Cup car that's road legal, at least in Norway where it's being sold, which I found as nuts. That a drift, that is a car. It's a car of all time for sure. This would never be street legal in Australia, at least definitely not in New South Wales. Maybe you could get away with it in like NT or something, but not here. But yeah, this is only 10,000 less. They're just getting a car that's completely untouched by comparison. So I thought that was pretty nuts. So let's have a scroll. Let's have a scroll Let's have a look through, see if anything else catches our eye. Actually, let's have a look through cars that are going to be selling soon. Because I went through these and I kind of got back to where I was last week, like, or a week or two ago. I don't remember how long it was ago I streamed. But I got back, like, the Tommy Mackinnon Evo sold for a pretty good price. That caught my eye. But it's not like outlandish. I'm not going to be like, oh, that's so cheap. It's all right. But then we very quickly go back to where I was. Like, I was looking at all these already. No use treading old ground. There's another NSX. See, 72,000 euros. That's pricey. 59,000 Ks. Especially when we had an NSX sell for like 80 something thousand Australian like a week ago. Where's that at? There it is. 87,000 Ks. Sorry, 87,000 K. 77,000. So you got barely any difference in Ks. You've got obviously manual versus auto. So that would contribute to the price. But euros is freaking so much more. 128,000. Whereas this, you're probably looking at, again, like maybe 20k for a manual swap. So I guess it is only a $10,000 price difference, all things considered, across the world. But I don't know, man. I think just being able to get into an NSX at a lower entry point, even if you've got to swap manual later, that's so much more worth it in my books. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a thing about cars. Hey, well, that's fine with me, man. You can learn a thing or two. You can enjoy some yapping. We can do other stuff another time. But yeah, we're going through them at the moment. Now, they say that. I used to see a lot of imported cars here in Eastern Europe. Chasers, Soras, all the JDM Legends. Even Lanyards like the Mark V, Lincoln Continental. All gone. I wonder if they ended up getting either A, written off by a lot of young people driving them like they did here. You saw a lot more Sylvias back in the day before they got wrapped around telephone poles, that's for sure. But to be fair, with import laws in America changing as these cars approach 25 years, it wouldn't surprise me as well if a lot of American collectors either A, took them. It's happening here in Australia too. So many American collectors are buying cars that are here, shipping them over to the States and just kind of enjoying them there because they're now legal. Or B, I suppose, because they become more valuable, people are less inclined to drive them these days, right? Like this happened with Sylvia's. Like one of my mates from high school has a S15, a 200SX. He bought it for around 10k or maybe even under back nearly, it would have been 8 years ago now. 8 years ago now. 9 years ago? Shit, I'm 26, so it would have been 9 years ago because it was 17. So 9 years ago, nearly a decade ago, he bought his S15 for under 10k. And now, because of how pretty much bone stock it is, he never ended up doing much to it. Low Ks, I think just around 100,000. It's probably worth close to 50k these days. And now he just doesn't want to drive it anymore because it's just gained so much value that he can't fuck around with it like he used to. So that, like you were saying, Star, like that might be why you're seeing less and less of those, or the Americans just stealing them, right? Either people are too scared to drive them because they become more expensive, or they're just kind of getting bought up by American collectors with a lot of money to throw around for cars they were never allowed to have. I just think listening to people that are enthusing something is always neat to listen to. Hey, that's the way, right? People talking passionately about things. That's always been the motto. That's always been the motto of what I do. Like, I've always talked about different things, whether it be, like where you came from when I was talking about Zoids and things like that. That still is a passion of mine. And every video I made was something I was passionate about. But again, kind of got to a point where I had to commit to something. In unrelated news, I've built my Death Stinger and it's much bigger than the guys. Like, oh yeah, it definitely would be, bro. It's because they would both be 172 scale, right? So it would be huge by comparison. And some states in the US have carbon check, like Cali's strict. Yeah, well, they do have emission tests in the US. California is supposedly very strict on those. But even so, most people with the money to collect cars like these just go around those rules anyway, right? Like, there was a that dude in blue video recently that went over when Jay Leno was trying to change the laws in California. So Jay Leno was kind of pitching this law to, you know, Congress or whatever. I don't know the official terms. He was basically trying to get something passed, right, to allow it to be easier for people with, you know, historic cars to really get their registration and be able to drive in California easier rather than having to jump through hoops. That got completely dismissed, which just seems extremely stupid because all these people in California are doing is going to a different state and registering their car there and driving back to California. And then all that's happening is California is missing out on all the tax revenue and everything else they can get from just allowing people to register their classic cars there. It doesn't make any sense, but yeah, man, they're America. Am I right, guys? Yeah, collectors bought most of all of them. 2020 particularly hit us hard and kept these unique cars in good condition. It became unbelievably hard. Yeah, collectors really did buy a lot of these things up. And it's like, what do you do? What do you do to compete with people that have this kind of money? Like when you're looking at all of these exotic cars, just because the exotic cars are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you look at some of the old Jap cars, they don't have to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But these people that can afford these cars, they see the writing on the wall. Kind of like I talked about in, I think it was my Minimalism is Dead video, where like, if you owned a GTR in the 2010s, it's straight away between 2014 again and 2019, that 5-year gap, you would see that writing on the wall. Each year, your car would start to grow exponentially again and again and again and again. And you know it's iconic from movies like Fast and the Furious. You know people that grew up with Fast and the Furious, Need for Speed games, 2000s JDM culture, like me, are getting older now. So those people are starting to get more disposable income. So obviously the prices are just going to go up. The writing's on the wall. It happened. They're probably not going to come back down anytime soon. At least till, you know, most people like myself die off and then no one really cares anymore. Kind of like I was talking about in my most recent video on why we can't let things go and people's care factor and things like that. Like, okay, I'm going to keep fucking rambling because I'm on a roll. There was a TikTok I saw recently of this guy in like a, you know, a VW van. You know these ones? Like, what are they called? I don't know the actual name of them because I'm not a big VW guy. The old Volkswagen bus, right? These bad boys. There was a guy in one of these, and he was trying to go to like a classic car meet, right? Little did he know it was more for like, you know, old Chevys and things like that. The real, like, again, I don't know my old Chevys that well, but if I look it up. Like these bad boys. I'm not American, alright? I don't know what... I don't exactly know all my names of old Chevs, but I know it's a fucking Chevy. So, it was mainly a meet for all these kind of cars, right? Like you would see in Cars the movie. But my man in his V-dub just wanted to join in. Problem was, he didn't have an old Chev like everyone else, so they kind of just turned him away. And then you just see everyone in the comments like, oh, you know, these old geezers just, you know, gatekeeping, being arseholes. Don't worry, you know, in 20 years they're going to die and no one's going to give a fuck about their cars. And, you know, people fighting back and forth. But they are kind of right. The same way in, like I mentioned in my other video, in like 100 years, there's no way people are going to care, the general public at least, as much about things like an R32 GTR. In maybe the next 40 or 50 years, not as many people are going to give that many fucks about an old Chevy. I mean, again, biased here. I didn't grow up in the States. I didn't grow up with these cars. I don't care. I know they're worth a decent bit of money right now, but I wouldn't pay that much for them. And a lot of other people wouldn't as well. The same way, in like over 100 years, people probably won't care about GTRs. Oh yeah, you're by far the most passionate car guy on YouTube. Don't regret subscribing at all. Oh, thanks, man. I am pretty passionate about what I yap about, that's for sure. Whether it be not giving a fuck about old Chevys. They're cool. They are cool. I'm not going to say they're not. It's just not my thing, right? This is not what I grew up with. This is not what I care about. I respect things like lowriders. I think they're really cool. But, hey, man, it's not my thing. And I think people get really gatekeepy about a lot of these old cars, forgetting that they are most likely going to be forgotten after their lifetime. Cars like gold bars now, but unregulated, so much possibilities to screw with the market and make millions. Oh yeah, it's bro. Cars feel like Bitcoin sometimes. It really feels like a cryptocurrency. If you've got millions and you find even okay things like that Tommy Mike and an Evo, like an Evo 6 or whatever in that spec. If you're just a multi-millionaire, they're only like, one sold for like in the $40,000 range. You could probably buy a bunch of them up, hoard them, wait 5 years. It's almost like fucking TCGs, like card games. Like people do, like people when they buy out meta relevant cards in card games and shit. They're like, oh, you obviously on a much smaller scale, a card's like $5, and they're like, all right, well, I'm gonna buy every copy of this card on the market. Now they're $10, and they just double their money. You can do that on a way larger scale if you've got millions. People really just basically be playing God at that point with the market just because they can. Oh, 100 years does your car have does your car have miles emissions? I do think in 100 years people still be very passionate about these cars. Supras would be like in the millions. I don't know if I would say Supras would be in the millions. Maybe some very select Supras specifically used in the first Fast and the Furious movie could get very high. I don't know if it would get to 1 million, but it would get very expensive. Didn't Han's RX-7 sell recently? What did that sell for? There you go. So it's already kind of happening, right? The Veilside RX-7 from Tokyo Drift sold for 1.2 million at auction. So yeah, very specific cars will. Hey Chris, how you doing? Very specific cars likely will appreciate a shit ton because they're iconic in that way. But there you go. Look at that. Twice the amount paid for the previous record setter, a 94 Supra that sold for 550,000. So we're not quite there for the Supra, clearly. It's arguable that the RX-7 might have been more iconic than what the Supra was. That's for you to decide. I would probably tend to agree. I am a much bigger fan of Veilside and this whole scene than I was the original Fast and the Furious. Both have their own, lovers and haters, but this is definitely more up my alley. But yeah, man, the precedent is there for some of these cars to get over $1 million. I should check the graph price for Super back in the early 2000s to price now. It would be crazy to see the difference in price from back then to now. Praying that a 1985 Mustang will remain unappreciated so I can snatch one up for myself eventually. You would really hope so. There are so many cars. For me, it's the 350Z, right? Like I am begging that a 350Z just stays underappreciated and undervalued because I would love to just pick one up as a weekender, right? Like for around that 10k mark, if I could find a decent one, I would be fucking just so happy. I could live my Need for Speed Underground dreams with something like that. I saw online a dude turn his RX-8 chassis into a retrofitted Veilside RX-7. What? What's my current car? It's a current car's an ISF, a Lexus ISF, like this one here. Retrofitted his RX-8 to be an RX-7 with a Veilside body kit. That's nuts. It's kind of like, that reminds me of people that turn like their R33 into an R34, which you can do. You can do a more homogenous one where it's like half-half. You get the R33 back end and just convert the front to an R34 front end. Or I've seen people convert the whole thing, but that is crazy to do with an RX-8. But I mean, to be fair, a lot of people don't appreciate the look of the RX-8, so maybe he got more money out of it doing it that way. Or he just couldn't afford an RX-7, which I don't blame him. Like, if I look on Marketplace now, for things like an RX-7, it's not cheap. Like 90k, man. Like obviously it's a very specific example. 90, 60, 40, 70. We did see one for 50 before. And look at that. You want an RX-8? No wuckers, man. No RX-8, 16k. You got 70k to play with on a body kit to make it what you want. So the ISF Lexus isn't a manual, is it? No. So the Lexus ISF only ever came in an auto, which is why I really would like eventually like a weekend car that could be a manual. For a lot of people, the ISF would be a weekend car. To be fair, it's a fun car. Like it's a V8. It's a lot of fun. But I just wish I had something that was manual. I miss it so much. It's yeah, it's an unbelievable difference between driving something that's manual and something that's auto. As fun as the ISF is, as cool as the ISF is, not being manual is like the biggest drawback, and like the only reason I'd pick like a M3 over it, like an E90 M3 or something like that. But yeah, there you go. 81k for a does it be a turbo Supra, right? Factory manual turbo, yep, 6-speed. How many Ks? 60k. Front fitment could be a little bit more aggressive, but man, that's fucking clean. Not bad. Not bloody bad. But yeah, man, RX-7s are just nuts. It's unbelievable that people are asking 70, 80. What else have we got? 75 for a GTR. 40 for an FC. If only. 7k for an FC? What's wrong with it? Is it a shell? Yeah, it's a shell. I mean, it'll be a cool project though. I do have a soft spot for FCs. Just because of initial D, let's be real. Like Ryosuke and the FC, who doesn't have a soft spot for these things? Did you drive manual? I feel like manual sort of phased down in the early 2000s. It did quite a lot. I did drive manual. Like I learned in manual, right? I learned how to drive in manual myself, and I miss it a lot. Like I drove manual for over nearly a decade before I switched to the ISF. Like I had my Subaru for nearly 10 years, and that's really what I did in manual. I learned to drive pretty much in that car, had that car on my P's, had that car when I got this house, had that car for years. It was like an $8,000 car, and it was fucking phenomenal. RX-8 is fun till it busts out shadow transmission gears. I mean, well, yeah. You say exaggeration, but I don't know if I believe it's an exaggeration at this point, man. I've heard way too many horror stories about RX-8s to ever want to own one. I mean, even RX-7s, to be fair, if you don't really keep on top of them and like properly maintain them, they can be a nightmare too. Just rotaries in general can be a little bit temperamental. Now I get the sentiment for manuals, yeah, man. When you're driving a manual, it just feels more like you're connected to the car, right? You connect to the car, connect to the road. It's a more visceral experience. Okay, here's a way I can explain it to you. You know when you watch a mech anime? You know when you watch like Zoids or some shit, and you see a fucking pilot jump in the cockpit and they're like, all right, let's fucking get it started, and they start touching shit and they start playing with dials and doing all that. That is the embodiment of what driving a manual feels like compared to driving an automatic car. Sometimes driving an automatic car feels like a bit of a chore. It just feels like you really are in a mode of transport. You're getting from A to B. But when you're in that manual, when you're actually changing gears, using that third pedal, fucking around, it's a visceral experience. It really just feels like you are in control of the car. And I mean, I'm sure there's some guy 50 years ago that would say the same thing about fucking no power steering and this, that, and the other. But regardless, to me, that's how it feels like. Chris, what's everyone's first car? What's yours, man? Start the trend. Ask chat, what was your first car? My first car was a Combi 2125. Interesting first car. I mean, mine was, I'm not chat, but I'm going to tell you anyway. 2007 Subaru Impreza. Oh, guy. If I can spell. One of these bad boys right here. But not with a hood scoop. Is there an actual Impreza somewhere here? Because these are all WRXs. There it is. This is a listing on Gumtree too. That was my first car. I'll probably have a picture of it somewhere, to be fair. But This was pretty much it. Good old Impreza. I had the STI wing on it. It was manual rather than auto. I had the bucket seats instead of the normal seats, but yeah, man, this is what I started with. About the same price I paid for it too, to be fair. Just like 10 years ago. So it is kind of nuts that it's the same price basically as what I bought it for. Way more Ks too. I bought mine with under 100,000 and I sold it with, you know, 250,000. But damn, still wanting seven. The the used car market is pretty inflated. Mitsubishi Lancer GT, that's nice as a first car. Why not? Cheeky Lancer. So you were the opposite side of the spectrum to the Subaru. Hawkeyes are so damn cool. They're a nice shape. I'll give it. You know what? Let me see if I can find. Can I find a picture of my Hawkeye? I wonder if I can find one on this computer that I can share. Hawkeye. Do I have one? Sorry, I'm looking through all my photography freaking folders. I got too many. Subaru, here we go. But these are just the sale photos, so they're not the best. Because I just took the photos in my garage. Here we go. There she was. There was the Hawkeye, the fucking beast. I would love to try and impress her someday. They're fun. Like, ideally, you'd want a WRX at least, so you can have a little bit of oomph in it. Because these things go from like 0 to 100 eventually. I wouldn't even give it a time to go from 0 to 100. They're so fucking slow. It's unbelievable. But that also makes them like a perfect first car. Like if you want to chuck a teenager in something that's safe and something they're not going to kill themselves in, something they probably can't kill themselves in, this is the car. Like if when I ever have a kid, I would want to chuck them in a car just like this. You got all-wheel drive, which makes it all the more safer. You've got no fucking power, and you've got most modern safety features without being too strenuous. Like, yeah, you don't have reversing cameras, you don't have lane assist, you don't have any of that fancy stuff, but it's still a very solid car that will get you nowhere. But it's fun. It is really fun to drive, that's for sure. I miss this car. It was a cool car. I can't lie. It was fun. But, hey man, all those things got to come to an end eventually, and I do love the ISF quite a lot. So it's hard for me to complain about that. It was an upgrade, that's for sure. But where was I on these sold listings before I started yapping, as always? I was having a quick geese through these. Anything else that... Another 348. Only at 68 is the current, though. Super for €23. Not horrible. I literally tend to drive home later in the day just to avoid teenagers after school driving fast. Yeah, they do that. they definitely fucking do that. Slower cars do feel fast sometimes, especially when you have every part right. Well, that's the thing, man. That's the thing that I'm saying about this Impreza, right? I always say when I used to drive this, everything felt so much faster than now. Like, yes, the ISF is a way faster car, but this just, there was no insulation in this thing. Everything would rattle. I had a cannon at the back, so it was loud as fuck and drony as fuck. And it just, it did feel more visceral, and it was manual obviously as well, so it felt faster, but it was not even close. It's night and day compared to what I'm driving now. Any other Teslas for sale? I can have a look. Couple. 26 is a bit high. Manual 110,000 Ks. It's clean though. TN coilovers. It's not bad. I don't know if I'd pay that much for it. The rest are probably just ISs. IS 300, IS 200. Yeah, mostly just ISs by comparison. Yeah, 26 indeed. I mean, everything's gone up. Hey, it's fucking nuts. It's hard to believe how much a lot of these things are when they used to just be pennies on the dollar. I mean, you can get the plates. $400 for those. Or what is it? Or is it for the surround? It's not even the plates. It's for the carbon bits. Okay. And you want to see people selling plates. They do that here too, which I think is a crazy game to get in. Yeah, exactly. My shoebox car feels fast too because most of it's aerodynamics, rust chewing through the body. Yeah, well, that's it. You get extra air coming through. It's like fake ducks, but they're just made from the car rusting away. Far out. What else is selling? Where was I? Here. And the other things? 120 for a 34. When's that end? Thursday. So it's got a while to go still. But that's interesting. It's only a GTR. It's not a V-Spec, is it? No. Just the GTR. I'd be interested to see what this goes for. Still twin turbo. So pretty untouched. A-side blue as well. Not bad. 2 keys. I'd be interested to see what that sells for. 140 for a Carrera 4S. Nuts. Nuts, nuts, nuts. That's alright for an Impreza. Oh yeah. Just a cheeky 100k for a GT3 RS. Obviously it's going to be way more by the end. But even still, comparing that to fucking Australian prices is just night and day. $11,000 for a Maloo. Where is that? Well, they originally delivered to Australia, but where is it? It's been imported to the UK. Makes me wonder how much that'll go for. They had a steep climb and a bit of a fall too. You know what else, actually, that I've been thinking about a lot recently? That I've seen no one talking about? New M5 wagon. I don't know if it's the same as the sedan. But if you look at the new M5 wagon, I swear to God. Where did I go? Where's my page? No, no, no. There it is. I swear they low-key copied the Maloo. Right? Am I crazy? Maybe not that exact one. Hold on. Maloo Ute. If you look at one of the newer shaped Maloos, like, I'm not going crazy, right? It's like they use the same fucking design language. Oh, it's behind my camera, isn't it? Hold on. Let me open that. And let me open that. And we can do a proper side by side. Can you still see the old Subaru brats driving around in AU? Oh, every now and then, yeah. You're always going to see it. Oh, no, give me the picture. I don't want your video. I want to compare. Whatever. Give me your cookies. Can I stop? There we go. We look at that. And we look at that. Spot the difference for me. What were they thinking? I mean, it looks good. Like, I can't hate them on it. It does look pretty good, but it just looks like a Maloo. Every single time I look at it, I think BMW decided to come to Holden. Crazy. All right, is there anything else before I decide to wrap this up? Anything catching my eye? If I could even find where I was. Yoink. Got a Malou, got a Cabriolet, nah. Oh yeah. 10k for NSX? Sure, buddy. I wonder how much that's going to climb in the next 5 days. Keep my eye on there as well. Another Tommy Mack and an Evo starting at 3.5. So I mean, I guess these aren't even worth looking at this point. With 5 days left, they're going to climb a lot. 38 on this though. Still 5 days left. 1Ms are definitely interesting. They're one to look out for sure. They're pretty rare. And they're a cool car. I don't know if you ever see one of these in person, but they're almost cooler than the M3s of the same generation, to be honest. They're a really neat, tidy little car, and I imagine they'd be a lot like a go-kart to drive. But you know what? I think I might call it there. Because at this point, we've kind of looked through all the new listings, at least from last time. We've had a bit of our browse on Marketplace. We've had a look at all the new stuff. And I think that might be where I'm going to wrap it up. BMW's WSL. Thanks for the stream. No worries, guys. Like, thanks for joining in. Thanks for chatting with me. It's always fun to have a look through all this stuff. I want to do these more often. Hopefully soon enough, I can have a bit of an actual schedule to go off of. So I can give you guys time to actually come and hang out and we can do all this stuff again without me kind of just springing it on you guys last minute. But yeah, appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to call it here and leave you with a lovely picture of my old Subaru. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again. Great stream. I'm certainly looking forward to more of these. There, man. Again, hopefully soon enough, we will have a proper schedule in place. So it's not just fucking ad hoc and happening every now and then. But yeah. Thanks for joining, guys. Appreciate you chatting, and I'll see you next time.